faithful to the office which you have charged to them. Guide and direct them to fulfill your purposes. Give them the wisdom in the hours of decision. Furnish them with the insight, the resources that will enable them to make their decisions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, could I have the roll call, please?
Do you want
Combined, yeah, agency and council meeting.
Councilmember Director Schultz?
Here.
Councilmember Director Cabrera?
Here.
Councilmember Director Alvarez?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chair Member Capote?
Here.
Mayor Chair Member Cicena?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. We'll go on to proclamation. We have a proclamation. Recognition for receiving the Silver Thermometer Award from the Los Angeles County Area Agency on Aging for meeting the highest standards in serving safe food. Irving, would you please introduce the group here for us? And
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. With us we have Teresa Nava, which, as you know, is our Volunteers America site manager for our nutrition site. We also have with us Ruby Moran. She is the Senior Advisory Board President for our Senior Citizen Center and very active as a volunteer. We have Ira Barba, extremely important at seniors program, senior program coordinator. We have Noel Rodriguez, outstanding volunteer for our senior citizen program. And also Mrs. Manuela Avalos, another senior volunteer. So I know it's hard to know our senior here at this time of the evening, but this group of seniors right here is our, I call them our golden nuggets as volunteers. And without them, we will have no senior program, outstanding senior program like the one we have, and also to meet all the standards, which is hard to do in this day. And if you go to our center, you will see that we proudly display our A. And it wasn't because of the dedication of Teresa and Ira and other volunteers, we won't be able to get that A. So, you want to say anything, Ruby? So we're very proud of our volunteers, especially our seniors, and for all to accomplish. Getting the Silver Thermometer Award is because our senior center, meet all the standards in cleanliness, service, including our meals on wheels, what we call, and all these different things that we meet a standard with. So, I don't have anything to say, but thank you to all of you, and I know everybody, staff, city council member, are proud, our volunteers.
yes, Irving, that's what I was just going to say. As the mayor and I know the city council, we're all very thankful for your work, your service to the community. Without your help, I think we would really be in trouble. So, from the bottom of our hearts, we really thank you. And I understand that you received a proclamation or award already. I don't know would you want a picture, to get a group picture, Joe? Can we get a group picture? And the council, would you come down and we'll take it with them? It's an honor.
Oh, that's Shirley. are you? Just wanna thank you. Yeah. Right. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll continue, oral communications, items on the agenda, and this is for the city council and the redevelopment agency. This is the time reserved for members of the audience wishing to speak on agenda items. This period will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Maximum time allocated is 15 minutes. And please give your name and address for the record. No one wishing to speak? We'll go on to oral communications, items not on the agenda. This is the time reserved for members of the audience wishing to speak on items not on the agenda and within the legislative body's jurisdiction. This period will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Maximum time allocated is 15 minutes. Your name and address for the record. Okay, we'll go on. No one wishing to speak. Item A, public hearings. We have no public hearings at this time. Item B is ordinances, and there's no ordinances at this time. We go to item C1, adopt resolution number 91-98 to revise the conflict of interest code for the city of Hawaiian Gardens. Tony?
Yes, Mayor Consul, at this time, I'd like to call upon our Assistant City Clerk to give us a background.
As the council may remember, about 2 months ago, the council adopted and provided the clerk's office with authorization and instructions to move forward on updating our conflict of interest code. Because of the details involved and some of the positions that need to be included and categorized, the document for this information is not yet available. We're still finalizing it. Due to time constraints, it had to be included on this agenda because by the next agenda it would have missed the deadline. So staff respectfully request that you continue this item either to an adjourned meeting to allow staff time to finalize the document, or perhaps we may need to, if you decide not to do that, then perhaps by calling a special meeting at a future date prior to the next regular meeting.
Any questions on this?
Was there quite a change?
Yes, the conflict of interest code that the city currently has was originally adopted in '94 and only classifies 3 positions, and that includes the city administrator, the planning director, and consultants. And there are, in '96, I believe it was, when the, yes, in '96 when the council adopted the new MOUs for both non-managers and management units. A lot of positions were modified, and there were a lot of previous positions that should have been filing under the conflict of interest code, which were not classified, although since I've been in the clerk's office, I have required for those positions to continue filing so that the state.
Because they're making real necessary decisions, huh?
Yeah, there may be potential. There's different categories, different types of filing. Some officials, some employees may have higher, more stricter categories to file under, as opposed to somebody who may not have a strict category. For example, purchasing agents. In our city, purchasing agents in the past have not been included in the conflict of interest code, so they have not filed. Department heads, deputies and assistants such as myself had not been covered, although they should have been covered, we should have been covered. So with this conflict of interest code, we're trying to make sure that everybody that should be, or should have been added, even since 1994, is included. The downside is that it's been so involved because it wasn't done in the past. I've used, boilerplates from other cities that have, provided me additional copies to make sure that all the positions that need to be included, I don't miss, and the appropriate category is, included for each of those, added positions.
If I may, this does not reflect on any staff person at all or any title. It's more of a, how should I say, an insurance as far as in the best interest of the city as a whole. As Lucy has stated, there's only really yourselves, and as far as staff, there's only 3 positions. But the broader it becomes, the better it is, and also it's just a good check and balance overall.
Yeah, 'cause big decisions are being made. It affects a lot of people.
At certain levels, there's some significant decision making.
So what is our deadline date on this? Do we have to?
The deadline from when we presented the previous statement to the council was, just over 2.5, I think it was 2.5 months ago. And the date falls on the Sunday before the next meeting for November. And it has to be before then, which is our timeline. And I don't have the document with me, so I don't remember the exact.
We need a motion to continue this to a special meeting, but the date on that special meeting, how do we arrive at that?
How much time,
Next week?
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask, how much time do you need, Lucy, that you feel would be appropriate to have the next meeting?
By next week.
By next week, so by next, Tuesday, next week, if we set something to continue till next Tuesday, which is the 16th?
I'm not sure what the date is.
Or
17th.
17th, okay, 17th, so to continue till the 17th, I'd like to make a motion to continue.
Is there gonna be a special meeting?
An
Special
adjourned-
meeting?
A special meeting,
Do you want a special or an adjourned meeting?
An adjourned, would be an
Adjourn meeting.
an adjourned meeting?
Yeah, you would adjourn this item to
So you,
that, to
I
the
thought
adjourned.
you had to be continued, or continue until.
Right, right. You would con-
6:30?
Well,
What's,
I'm sorry.
You're making the
If
motion?
it's possible, I'd like to make a motion to continue it till the 17th. Possible 6 o'clock.
I don't know, we can do it earlier, right?
6 o'clock?
Is it okay with everybody,
It's fine.
6 o'clock?
Yeah. Yeah.
What time?
6
Six.
o'clock on
Six.
both. Even if it's earlier, if it's okay, I mean, it's.
Now, do we have everything that we need in this motion now? It's resolution number 91-98 that we're concerned
Yeah,
about.
yeah, we'll continue it till then. You just need a second.
Second.
Seconded? A roll call vote, please.
Thank you.
Councilmember Schultz?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Calco?
Yes.
Mayor Sisena?
Yes, motion carried. Item C2, adopt a resolution to, number 92-98, to adopt regulations for candidates for the elective office pertaining to candidate statements submitted to the voters at an election. Tony?
Yes, Mayor and Council, I'm not sure if it's, who's going to expound on this?
Lucy?
You are?
Mayor, I don't mean to interrupt your meeting, but we can't hear you back there. Could you, speak up just a little bit?
Is our mics working? They're
I
not,
know the mic's not working, but we can't hear you back there.
can you hear me right now?
Sal's talking.
Yes, I can, but
We can't hear any meetings like that.
Oh, really? You should have brought it to our attention. We, as far as we know, you know. Oh, we'll try to talk a little bit louder.
Come on down.
Yeah.
Lots of space
Down here.
Come on down.
Sal and Leonard's talking, I know what it is.
Okay. Lucy?
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, before you, in accordance with the Elections Code, is the candidate's a policy setting the candidate's statement. This specifically includes the information regarding the Voting Rights Act, which our city is required to translate in Spanish at this point, and it also includes the candidate statements to be limited to 200 words per the Elections Code. It includes what the payment would be required to be provided when the candidate statement is filed along with the nomination papers as well. So this specifically sets out all the regulations pertaining to submittal of the candidate statements. Staff respectfully recommends that you waive further reading and adopt resolution number 92-98.
Any questions
Yes,
on?
I do just, it also says that translation will be at the expense of the candidates, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so
What's
it's
the
not.
fee?
The fee, and I think that should be stipulated, that they may think it's just a certain fee, and they're gonna have it translated to understand that there will be an additional if they have to translate it into their language.
Okay, what we've done in previous elections, since I've been here, which has been quite a few now, we have requested the deposit. I think the last election it was $525 that the candidate pays up front and includes that additional fee. This time around, it's gone up a little bit and it's approximately $550 that the city receives up front for those incurred expenses of translating. It includes the printing involved, and then it gets included in the voter sample ballot pamphlet. If the cost incurred by the candidates is less than that, then I think the requirement is within 30 days from that time that the expenses are finalized and the election is over, then that difference is refunded back to the candidates themselves. If it's more, then the candidate needs to reimburse the city for the additional expense beyond $550.
That includes the translating to Spanish?
Yes, yes.
So can you turn in the nomination papers and then later on turn in your statement?
No, it needs to be submitted at the same time, according to the elections code. Once the candidate decides to file and return the nomination paper to the city with the additional 700 forms, etc., they're also required to provide the candidate statement as well as the deposit, which at this time is $550 up front. Now, something that came to mind is the resolution doesn't specifically state the $550 so that it can be used at a future date. It specifically sets the policy now until the council decides, possibly in a future election, to modify if it's adopted tonight.
Has this been a standard rate? I mean, previous
Yeah,
elections?
pretty much. Like I said, that last election for the March '97 election was approximately $525. I don't remember that's what we were required, what we required the candidates to have as a deposit. And
Is this just if you're going to have a statement?
yes, this only
If you're
applies.
not going to have a statement, then you don't pay that $550.
Exactly. This is only to cover the candidate statements. The candidate statement is optional. It's not required
Okay.
for nominations.
It
Okay.
didn't cost that much, the candidates did get a refund. of
Right, I remember
100%.
getting a
Yeah.
refund, yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever. It's about 400.
yeah.
When you're
I
all
think
done.
it's
This year it
appropriate,
might be more, though,
yeah.
it depends how many candidates there are and how many statements there are.
But with 550, should be reasonable. If it's a little over, it shouldn't be very much over that, so I don't think there'll be a problem. And there may not be, there may be some that won't want the statement, so.
Yeah.
The council has a right to limit that if they want to.
Well, I think it sounds appropriate not to limit it to, whatever I'm
That's
thinking.
a lot, though.
That is a lot of
Think
money.
about it, it's
Well,
a
but,
lot.
I think we've been paying it. I mean, I remember I paid in the past, so I think it's an option, like I said, to pay that, and it is costly.
The cost.
Well, the expenses, whatever it costs to do it, yeah.
The costs involved include, the actual printing, when they set the printing, the whole process for the actual printing of the ballot. It includes the translation, which were required by the Voting Rights Act to translate into Spanish at this point. Some cities require additional,
Language.
translations. We're pretty fortunate right now, expense-wise, to just have one additional language, but there are surrounding cities that have up to 6 and 7, so the cost for them would be a lot more.
Well, it
So
would.
if it, so for anybody else out there that's interested, if somebody turns in their nomination papers and doesn't turn in a candidate's statement, then they can't change the, later on, turn it in.
No, they cannot. The other thing.
They're
with-
elected to go that way.
Right, the other thing about the candidate statement is once it's submitted, there's a very small window from the time that they submit it and the filing of nominations is over, that additional candidates can come in and review it, but it's not until the nomination period is closed that that becomes a public record for other people to review as well.
Yeah, if we were a big city, I'd say it's really important, but as small as we are, it's not that important to have a statement in it.
Well,
Depends on the
Most
person.
It
people have
depends on,
made up
it
their.
depends on the candidate, if he wants to do
Candidate,
it, they wanna
Well,
pay the
yeah,
expense.
if he wants to do it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But most people have their mind made up anyway.
Yeah.
Could you explain that, about the extended nomination period? There's something I saw there about an extended period.
The extended period is, for example, let's say the positions that are open right now, if the incumbents were to decide not to run for those offices again, and no other candidates file within the time frame. So for instance, for the March election, our nominations close on December 4th. Let's say that the incumbents for those positions do not file, and we do not have additional candidates. The nomination period is extended for an additional 5 days in accordance with the elections code. So that would extend the nomination period from December 4th through December 9th for additional candidates. So that's what that extended. Now, at that point, if there is an extended nomination period, everyone other than the incumbents may apply. At that point, the incumbents are no longer allowed to apply for those positions.
Any other questions? We have a motion on the
I'd
floor.
like to make a motion to adopt for the reading and give a resolution number, what is it, 92-98?
Second. Second? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Schultz,
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Calco,
Yes.
Mayor Cicero.
Yes, motion carried. Item C3 is adopt resolution number 93-98 to authorize the city administrator to execute a contract establishing a Greater Avenues for Independence program in the city of Hawaiian Gardens. Tony?
Yes, Mayor and Council, at this time, a request is being made to table this issue, and it'll be brought back to you.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion to table this.
Move to table.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carried. Item C4, adopt resolution number 94-98 to award a contract for the removal of the underground fuel storage tank located at 21815 Pioneer Boulevard in Hawaiian Gardens.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I'd like to call him Paul Hogan. He's been working very hard on this project, and it's one that's mandated and needs to be accomplished before the end, prior to December 31st of '98. Paul?
Honorable Mayor and council members, the federal regulations require that underground storage, fuel storage tanks that are in non-compliance with the new regulations are to be removed prior to December 22nd, 1998. The city has put together plans and specifications for this project, and on October 29th, 1998, the city received 2 bids, one from EPS Engineering Services and one from Safety Clean California, Inc. Both firms, background checks were conducted by our assistant city engineer, and both firms checked out. EPS Engineering Services bid was for $38,200, while Safety Clean California's bid entered a bid of $19,905. As a result of the possibility that there might be have been any spillage or contamination of the soil, these costs could go up for the remediation of the area if there is contamination in the soil. So these projects, these costs are not total costs. The total cost cannot be compiled until after soil tests are made and we have a final accounting of how much soil, if any, needs to be removed in order to remediate the area so that there's no more pollution in the soil or contamination in the soil. However, based on those bids that have been presented and the subsequent costs, dollar amount costs for the removal of any contaminated soil, it is the staff's recommendation that the council adopt resolution 94-98 awarding the bid to Safety Clean California, Inc. Staff requests that you waive further reading and adopt this resolution. Thank you. Any questions?
You know, I was noticing, Paul, the cost that could be added, a bit of the items, like disposal of soil, $75 one company, and 75 the other. Then it goes to disposal of concrete, 65 per ton, and then 50 per ton. Then right below that, which really is a big difference, surface with the 10-inch asphalt, $9, and it's $18, double. You said both companies pretty much check out and they have the same bond of 10%
Yes, sir.
to insure them?
Yes, sir.
And did they mention or did they say anything that there could be possibilities of leakage just by, I don't know, studies they've done, or?
The last time soil samples were taken of this area was 1993, when the city first went out and got the initial plans and specifications for both the removal and then the replacement of that storage tank. At that time, a number of test bores were made in the area, and at that time, in 1995, there were no contamination found in the soil. However, since that time, staff is unsure whether there was. Staff believes that there had been a crack in the collar of where the fuel is dumped into the tank, and that had allowed water to get into the tank, because we were having water in our gasoline, and that's why we ceased using the tank. Additionally, in case that wasn't the problem, if there was water from groundwater getting into the tanks from some other area, we wanted to minimize the amount of contamination to the area, and I believe we did have that tank pumped, and it's been out of service for some time. If it was just a crack in the collar and the leakage was coming from the top down from runoff water after the rain or from the irrigation system, then there's a good possibility that there's no contamination or minimal contamination to the area. However, not knowing what's down there and not having taken any recent soil tests, those tests will be taken during the course of this tank being removed.
Is that where it gets to disposal of water, 65 cents per gallon and 60 cents?
Actually, some of that disposal of water, we've got a high water table here in the city, and when they dig the hole to take that tank out, they may have to dewater the hole so that they can get in there and work.
When are they going to do this, John? Or a proposal for this? I mean, the water level probably in the rain season is going to go up.
Pardon?
I mean, if you get closer to the water season, December, January.
Do it as
We're
soon as possible.
hoping we're hoping to have this project completed by December 22nd.
Okay, because after that, you're going to get a higher cost to remove the water than you would right now.
That's why we're trying to get it before the rains come, sir. And also because the federal mandate says it has to be out by the 22nd.
Oh.
Yeah,
Then
right.
that's-
We have a deadline. too.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? No? Entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve resolution number 9498.
I'll make a second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Schultz?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Plato?
Yes.
Mayor Sisena?
Yes, motion carried. Item C5, approval of resolution number 95-98 to approve warrants and payroll. The resolution of the City Council, City of Hawaiian Gardens, to approving the pre-issued warrants and regular warrants for a total of $292,635.10. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Okay, seconded. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Schultz?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Plato?
Yes.
Mayor Sisena?
Yes, motion carried. We go on to the consent calendar. Anyone wanting to pull anything off the consent calendar?
I'd like to pull off item D2.
D2? Anyone else wishing to? On the minutes, There is, I think, is there any corrections? I think I got one correction on the minutes as far as, I think Placido, you were marked as present and you weren't here.
I was absent.
You were
last
absent,
meeting.
so maybe that correction can be made too.
Duly noted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else should be pulled off? I guess we'll go on to item D2.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, make the public aware that we have a report here that on November 4th, the LA County Sheriff's Department and the LA County Department of Animal Control made an early morning sweep of dogs in our city, and they picked up 25 animals, and they cited 5 owners. And I think this is very good for the city, and I would like to see this happen more often because it's a quality of life issue. People need to realize that if they want to have pets, they need to be responsible for them and not let them loose in the streets. And just because it was done once doesn't mean now the problem's solved. I'm sure the very next night you might have the same problem again. And I would urge animal control to keep on doing that in our city.
Okay, any other questions or
I
anything?
don't know if we can contact them and ask them to keep doing that kind of stuff.
I think so, because, you know, we pay pretty good money for the animal control, and.
Right,
honestly,
this is the type of sweep they did is really out of the norm. You know, they bring their lassos and so.
Like a rodeo.
Yeah, so I mean, but no, they'll be contacted again.
And it's all
I
done.
miss Robert, but he had to be gone.
And it's all done very, the animals are not abused or anything like that, it's all done humanely.
No, and it becomes a matter of, you know, what we're asking basically is that if you're going to be a pet owner, is to be responsible. And the burden should not be on your neighbor.
Right.
Okay, I'll make a motion on the consent calendar, items from 1 to 5 to receive and file.
I'll second.
With the correction. With the corrections, right.
For the corrections of the minutes.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried. Go on to item E, discussion items. Approval to conduct a Christmas community parade and authorize a temporary street closure to accommodate parade route. Tony?
Yes, Mayor and Council, it's my understanding in the past that when the city was in a stronger financial position that I guess there were annual parades and so forth, and we, at staff level, we've talked about this and we looked into the concept of implementing a Christmas parade for the community, especially once again during Christmas. But what we're doing is that we're recruiting volunteers in order to assure that we keep our costs minimum. And so it becomes a matter, we also feel that by asking members of the community to participate, we feel that they take ownership of the parade. And we've also met with the Sheriff Department, and they're going to also provide and I believe be part of the parade. But at this time, I'd like to call on Irving and expound on this much more. But once again, I really stress, this is a volunteer program. In fact, we have our meetings on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. here in the council chambers. So if anyone is interested in participating or assisting in any way or form, we really would appreciate it, because the more people involved, not only putting together, but also participating, the greater it is for our community. So, Irving?
His Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, staff requests the City Council approval to conduct Christmas Community Parade and allow temporary street closures of some city streets to accommodate the parade. During the coming month of December 1998, the City Council, as always, in the past, has encouraged residents to join us in joy of the holiday season. As Mr. Lopez mentioned, staff has received instructions to plan and implement the community parade, and is tentatively scheduled upon your approval on Saturday, December 5th, 1998, to begin promptly at 3 p.m. and the parade will be assembled on 226 and if necessary on Dublin and the athletic field at Ferguson Elementary. The parade will proceed east on 226 and turn north on Horse Avenue. Then we'll proceed west on 223rd and turn north on 1 Avenue. Then we will proceed west on 221st and go north on Elaine Avenue. And then we will go west on 6 Center Drive and finish at City Hall. And to culminate the parade, we are also planning to conduct the annual tree lighting ceremony, hopefully by 5:36 p.m. As Mr. Lopez has mentioned, we already had previous meeting and we already had the promise from the sheriff departments to support us with logistic and also with explorers. And we had quite a few community groups from the city, schools, and our own program willing to participate. Therefore, staff respectfully recommend that the City Council authorize staff to proceed with the planning and implementation of the parade and authorize the temporary street closure and allow the sheriffs to support us logistically. And if you have any question, we are ready to answer any question you may have.
What's Santa Claus getting me?
Do we need a volunteer for Santa Claus? No?
We're always looking for volunteer to be Santa, but we can make it
Mr.
public.
Cecina, I'm glad you volunteered. With a couple of pills.
Paul, would you be Santa?
I think you'd be a good.
No. Where do the volunteers, do they see you? Where do they, if a volunteer wants to volunteer, who does he see? Who does he talk to?
They can either start. Right now we have Mr. Hogan, Lucy, Mr. Lopez, Mr. Colombo, myself, Glenn Cornejo, Ira. Aliware we have Helen Rosas and Ms. Morales, Mrs. Prida, Mr. Prida. They can call at any time if they want to volunteer.
I think that's a wonderful thing. If I may, I don't know if it'd be appropriate to recommend also call some of the colleges. What they do a lot of times, I know I was in a committee where in Cerritos College, they donate toys, and sometimes they don't know who to give it to because nobody has really approached them. So at times they have toys that they bring in the students and give it to a nonprofit. It would be great if it brings them to the city, and Santa Claus, Mr. Paul Hogan, pass them out. So to call the colleges, Irwin, and find out if they do any toys drive that maybe they can turn over to the city, which would be something that would be good.
I'd be glad to do, sir.
If I may, I'd like to add that I really appreciate, I know staff and the volunteers, I mean, some of the senior volunteers have already been showing up to the meetings, and we're hoping that, once again, that we get more volunteers from the community. We're advertising it, I believe, on the cable, and we plan to get the word out more, but it's a parade for the community, by the community.
And maybe we can get the Lions Club and the Elks Lodge or something to participate also.
Yes, sir.
I think that's excellent, and
Okay,
Irvin, I know he's been working really hard on all these things, so thank you, and all everybody else.
We need a motion, don't we?
Uh,
To go ahead on this.
I'll make a motion to wait for the written adoption resolution. What is it, to make the closures, is the resolution of this,
To support.
to support the closure of the streets and also continue with the parade.
Okay, and you second it?
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Schultz?
Yes.
Councilmember Rivera?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Calhoun?
Yes.
Mayor Suzanne?
Yes, motion carried. Okay, we'll go on to the agency agenda. We have a consent calendar, and it's the minutes of October 27th, 1998, regular meeting. Is there any corrections or omissions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved to approve.
Second?
Seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carried. Item B1 is resolution, approval of resolution number 98-27 relating to warrants and payroll. A resolution of the City of Hawaiian Gardens Community Redevelopment Agency approving the pre-issued warrants and regular warrants for a total of $11,157.65. Any questions on this? If not, I'll make a motion to waive further reading and adopt resolution number 98-27.
Second.
Seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Director Schultz,
Yes.
Director Cabrera,
Yes.
Director Alvarez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Member Cato,
Yes.
Chair Member Sisram.
Yes, motion carried. I guess we can go on to oral staff reports. Oral staff
Yes,
reports
oh,
for
yes.
city and
Yes, at this time, I'd like to call on Irving also.
Yes, this is to remind you that tomorrow we have our annual Veterans Program at 8 o'clock here in the council chamber. And also, on November 19 has been the final date for the Jet Fair finalized. So we're working along with staff hard to promote this program, where I'm sure it's going to be beneficial for the community. So far, Mr. Mora said that he's having 24 companies coming to town to offer jobs to not only to the community but the surrounding communities as well. So we are in the process to do all the marketing and the publication to the both programs. So, but tomorrow is a very important day. You know, some people, you know, see us as Veteran Day is the day to be off, but it's the day that we remember all those people that give their life to our freedom and our beautiful country. And in a personal note, I've been getting a lot of concern from some of the council members and staff regarding the situation in Nicaragua, and I appreciate all your concerns. Some of you told me if we want to have a canned food drive or something like that. You know, when you see this type of things, you know, it touches your heart, and that's what it's all about. In this day, we have to, you know, support one another and care, because it's hard when you go through all these problems. You know, nature lately has been strange, and you know, it's hard to see on television all these people suffering in Central America, all the devastation. So I want to thank all the council members and staff that have been, you know, asking me on a daily basis, how's my family, if I have relatives, how's everything over there, and I truly appreciate your concern.
Mayor and Council, going back to Career Day, I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Frank Mora is with the County of Los Angeles, and he's the one that's been working with the city and really heading this program forward. When he was made aware that the city has an unemployment rate of 8.1%, which is extremely high for this area, and when he also was made aware that there was a sad situation when all the employees were laid off, so that's why he has pushed, and so I really want to appreciate all the work he's been doing in putting the employers together. As Irving stated, there are approximately 24, 25 employers that will be here for the purpose of recruiting. And so we're hoping that people are going to be coming and looking into the possibilities of future employment. We plan to, one, it's being advertised on cable. Two, there's going to be quite a few flyers going around. Three, we're shooting for, I understand that we do have the availability of having a banner over Carson, I believe, or one of the streets. So we're trying to get the word out, and once again, it's the way we look at it, and I know that self-interest, and that's basically for our residents, but we also encourage the surrounding areas that this is a good time. These employers, by the way, are not the ones affiliated with the project across the freeway.
That was my question, if they were going to be part of this, because I think they should.
No, they're not.
They're not ready.
No, they're not ready. We were, Mr. Mora has looked into that.
Oh, I
and
see.
so they're going to, when they're ready, then we're going to ask them also, because we really encourage, you know, once again, this is a good way of trying to identify future employment, or employment that is. And when you have 24 employers literally come to a small community, I mean, so it's going to be held once again on the 19th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So we encourage, please assist in getting the word out, because, it's needed.
Tony, maybe you can highlight on Student Government Day that we're
On the
talking
19th,
about having,
November
where students from one of the junior high or high school can come in and
Oh,
work
okay,
along
sir.
with the.
Yes, what we're doing is that I've talked to briefly with the principal from our middle school, Mr. Gonzalez. And in fact, this coming week, we'll be talking further and trying to work out the logistics. We're looking into, once again, getting the kids involved in regards to government and making them aware of local government and what the relationship is. So we're looking into having a future Student Government Day. I would like to have it at the next council meeting, but worst case scenario probably would be the first council meeting in December. And this is basically where students are selected by the school, would literally be, for example, the mayor of the council, the mayor pro tem, the planning, the community development director, and they would come here and they would conduct one session as a council. They'd be sitting up here. So they would be addressing an agenda item. It's a way of, once again, bringing that relationship between City Hall and the public, especially with the kids. So.
Anything else from the staff?
No, I know that you had the opportunity to go to a school of concerned student, which I thought was
Right.
wonderful. And I wanted to compliment the mayor and Mr. Lopez, the administrator, for paying attention to the request of this young lady that goes to Whitney High School, that had some concerns. And what they did is they went to the school and did a little presentation to the classroom, which really made her feel proud of Hawaiian Gardens after they left, because I don't think other students had that, type of service. So compliment both of you really on doing that. I thought it was wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, council now, any council, oh, okay.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, I've been asked by the bail schedule committee to kind of update the council on the progress of the bail schedule. Yesterday we had our second meeting, which was composed of staff and council members that was appointed by the council. Through the second meeting, we've been able to complete the final draft of this document. What this document basically composes of is a schedule of offenses and sets a bail amount for the type of offense, and reduces most of the offenses from a misdemeanor to infraction. And again, as I've stated before, this is not a new document that we're creating. We now have a bail schedule. We're just refining it. And there is a second component that we are working on, which is an ordinance, which is an accompanying document to this bail schedule, which will basically set rules and regulations for an officer to cite in the procedure for how about citing. And we will be having a third meeting, hopefully within the next week.
The court has to approve this bail
The court
schedule.
has to approve the document as well, the bail schedule, yes.
Very good. We compliment you on your committee and your
Thank
job.
the committee for their guidance on this.
Mayor, I forgot to mention also, if I may, it's not that I forgot, it's this evening, late this evening, some of the staff, myself, we met with Michael, and we started the initial step in regards to the budget. It is the intent that distribution will be going out to the department heads, and then we'll be, Michael and I'll be reviewing with each department head or each department their proposed budget. And once again, as Michael has stated in the past, he is implementing a 2-year program. And so, and God willing, it'll be continued to be a 2-year budget. So it's one of the things, I don't know what the past experience has been in this municipality here, when it comes to the budget sessions presented to the council. I'll probably be asking for a special meeting to go over just the budget alone. And I'm sure that the public will be in attendance, and which is righteously, it should be that way. So it becomes a matter, though, that we'll probably bring it to you all at a special meeting.
It's getting very close now.
Yes, it is, and I really want to, needless to say, to thank Michael. He has spent a great deal of time and consideration of all the other activities, as the rest of the staff. My staff is small, but they're mighty.
And I've seen that Mike has done a wonderful job together with everybody's help, I'm sure. But that's something that, I don't know, we couldn't have had them before this, 6 months ago. We would be in a better understanding of where our budget is set. So Mike, really, but your professionalism was greatly appreciated here.
Thank you. Okay. Any other reports? And we'll go on to city council reports. City,
okay.
Yeah. For agency.
For agencies, is it council?
Yeah, council and agency.
We had this COPS meeting, workshop, community-oriented public safety. I don't know exact translation to it, but some of the council members and some of the people that were there, staff members and community members, decided to take on a responsibility. And together with some community members and another council member, we took a responsibility of trying to improve the image of the community. On December 20th, we're going to work on one street, which is south of 223rd and north of 226th on the west side of the street. I've made contact with some people there. They think it's a wonderful idea, and we're going to try to have everything set by November 20th to see what needs to be done, and hopefully we can get a couple of dumpsters to make sure we remove some of the trash that's out in the front yards. And the people are willing to be volunteers. Some of the renters and the property owners, some of them I have not made contact with because it's been pretty hard, but that looks like it's going to be pretty good, at least improve little by little. My concern is that, we get negative reputation from the surrounding cities, and I think we can work towards a positive thing and, tend to forget the negatives and work on the positive results so people could feel better about the community, take pride, and start to see a difference. And by doing that street, maybe some other streets will want to be next. And if we can get some of the business to kind of sponsor a street program where they buy the paint or the brushes or whatever needs to be done, we can probably get them involved together with the Chamber of Commerce. So, by making mistakes, we can correct it later. So it's going to be just a trial thing and see how it works out and continue throughout the community, which...
It's December 20th?
Yes.
Now, do you think we can get permission from the county to enter the drainage ditch and clean all the stuff along there too? Because that's...
that should be their responsibility. I mean,
Yeah, but,
It wouldn't take much to just get somebody to go over and...
Yeah, to get permission, right.
Yeah, we should
we should also have permission, I think.
We should.
But, the thing is liability is one thing, and it's sad that everybody is no more, I'll see you, I'll sue you. To try to stay within the city and maybe have the county to be part of that day cleanup. So if they can send some workers, I'm sure that if we ask Don Canavi's office, they can send some workers that day to be part of that cleanup.
Yeah,
Plus,
we go to us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that street, on the other side of the street is a drainage ditch?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Wasn't there trees planted there?
There was at one time trees
Is there,
planted.
they're not there anymore?
They're not there anymore.
Well, I was gonna say, maybe the people could adopt a tree,
There you go.
adopt a tree,
That would be, because see, when they do that, I mean, you see a nicer street, you tend to have pride in it, and there was some concerns of kids hanging out in certain areas, and by doing this, I know it sends them to another street, but I think they will see that the community is concerned of what's going on, the city, the staff, and the city officials, they'll feel better about their homes there. Because there's a few properties that look very nice. One way at the end, closer to 226th Street.
Right, right
Very
in the
nice, yes. And there's one right in the middle, and a lady was really concerned. She says it's tough for her at nights there. And if we, do that and get some of these kids involved, they may feel different. I did a presentation today at Tracy High School and had some kids that weren't very pleased to see me because I was from Hawaiian Gardens. from a different neighborhood. But after I did a presentation, I went and shook hands with these kids, and it was something amazing that happened. It's like a magical thing. I says, I apologize for whatever that has been happened in the past. But I'd like to see that be mended, and it worked out. Some of these kids said, sorry, I made the comments. Some of the homeboys, and it was a really good thing at the end. So the teacher was happy with that. What I'm saying is, we have to change that. Even the image from neighborhood kids over there and our kids over here. And that will change, and it's going to take hard work, but I know we can make a difference.
Very good report.
Yeah, I'd like to add, as a takeoff on about the workshop, Alan has given me the list of locations, and we're looking into establishing community meetings throughout the city. So we will be scheduling meetings and bringing City Hall to the residents.
Is this with the sheriff's department also?
With the sheriff representative and others. Yes.
Yeah, the sheriff said they would be part of that program. The fire department said they'd be part of that program. In other words, have the sheriffs there, the fire trucks there, and get our agencies.
What was the date of that again?
And it's not a definite 19th or 20th. 19th is on a Saturday, 20th is on a Sunday, and it may have to be on a Saturday because of church goers and everything else. So it may have to be the 19th
This month?
of December. No, December
Oh,
19th.
December.
Yes.
Okay.
By the 20th of this month, to have pretty much everything in order to see what we need to do.
And you said a dumpster for that area too,
If we could get consolidated to donate,
To donate it,
a
right.
dumpster and have them dump their stuff,
Yeah.
just for the people there, nobody else.
Yeah.
You'll have a dumpster there.
Yes.
Actually, we should have two because.
Yeah, one
Street
at each
pump.
end of the street pipe, put it
Yeah.
about a quarter way in.
Yeah, because my area, they're always wanting to know when we're gonna do that again.
Mm,
And I
okay.
said, well, not for a while.
You, the snow won't interfere?
The snow, the snow.
During all these holidays,
I know.
that might be a little
Well,
hard.
I know it's gonna be a little hard, but like I said, we're gonna make mistakes and get it done because there was some concerns that with everything going on, you just have to go out there and do it. You can't sit around and
That's
wait to
right,
make
no.
excuses. Even if you just clean
It's
one
like
or two houses.
cleaning the parks and
Exactly.
stuff,
I mean,
yeah.
if I have my home and someone comes to help me out that day, great. I'll help them out in between everybody there. Will at least feel
Well, I got
better.
an address on 214th Street.
Actually, December
Tree.
19th might be a good day because we're supposed to have a Christmas celebration that
Right.
night here
Yeah.
at City Hall, so
Yeah.
after cleaning up
And
that
your
street,
wife was part of that
might
group,
be-
and she's
might
gonna
be a
be
good
part of
idea to.
Yeah.
Might be a good
Are
day.
we having a celebration?
Supposedly I got we're working on something like that, right? For the
Oh, really?
December 19th? Or
Irving?
something, I think
Irving?
we've asked for maybe some donations or whatever, but something.
Oh, this is the kitty program, right?
Right.
That's not a big cat
Paul's
yet.
gonna be Santa Claus?
Buy me the suit, right?
We rent the
Oh,
suit.
there's bound to be a suit around somewhere,
Lupe, you have anything to report?
No, I'd just like to point out that I belong to the cemetery district. And we've asked people to donate trees in memory of somebody. And at first, we didn't know what kind of reaction we were going to get, but people are donating trees in memory of their loved ones and such. So, we might do something like that to get trees for that street.
That would be good.
If somebody wants to donate a tree, and we would give them a plaque, give them a little certificate that they donated a tree.
Yeah.
That would be a great idea.
So it works. People will donate trees. And I'd like to inquire about Captain Kavanaugh, our police. Anybody know?
Did you wanna, since we found out just recently from,
Well,
from
he
Captain.
was gonna maybe report to work possibly next Monday.
Right.
He's doing very
good,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, Captain Kavanaugh.
I saw him at the memorial for Sheriff Block, and he looked very healthy, looked very good.
They just want to make sure, and it looks like Monday morning he'll be back.
And also, it's nice to see Mr. Jerry back,
Yes.
welcome. I wasn't here last week, I don't know if you were here, but it's nice to see you back again.
I believe,
Dominic's taking good care of her, right?
It's an
You're
obligation,
taking
that's
good care of Linda, right?
Yeah, even Dominic is looking better now. I mean, he was pretty good now.
He wasn't smiling for a while.
Yeah, he's smiling now.
Alan?
Yeah, I have a couple of items I'd like to report on. First of all, I think with our planning commission, that is the only commission that is required by the state that a city has to have. And a while back, it's been discussed that maybe, like some other cities, we ought to give our planning commission the power to have the final say on something, to actually approve a project. And if somebody's not happy with the decision of the planning commission, that they can always appeal it to the city council. And, I believe in streamlining government as much as possible and making it efficient. And we do have a very good planning commission right now. And I don't see why we can't work on trying to give them that authority. Many other cities do that. And it actually would speed up projects, I think, and probably give them more of a sense of purpose also. I mean, basically, right now, they're just an advisory.
Well, they recommend.
They recommend, but in a lot of cities, the planning commission actually approves a project.
Are you sure?
Yes, right.
I
Many
didn't
cities
know
do
that.
that, and there's no reason why we can't do that
Ralph
here.
and Don spent a lot of time, didn't you, Ralph? And sometimes they'd vote down what you guys
I
approved.
spent 30 years on the commission myself.
When they
Yeah,
appeal
Don
it.
spent his
When
time.
they appeal, it
too.
comes to us.
And so did Loopy.
Right.
So, I don't know what we can do to move in that direction, but I've had some commissioners approach me and ask me to make that request of the
Yeah, I
council.
didn't know that they could
And
do that.
I think it's very appropriate. We have a good planning commission. There's no reason why we can't move ahead and do that. And,
We can study it and find
Yeah.
out.
Another resolution,
Let's talk with Joe.
probably, huh?
Yeah, I just wanted to address the council. I think that the council has voiced that opinion in the past, and we have incorporated that into the RFP requirement, because we are in a zoning code revision stage right now. There's been several requests made by different council members or commissioners, and it's just taken some time to get this document put together, and there'll probably be forthcoming a status update of some sort on the zoning code revision.
okay, so we're moving in that direction.
Yes, and like I indicated, it's been a concern of several council members because the planning commission can have the final say-so on land use entitlements. However, the way they are designed, and if there is the way it works in some other cities, a council member can have this called to the council for discussion, or it's automatically appealed, or even the applicant can appeal it, for example, if it's denied. If the conditional use permit is denied, it can appeal to the council.
There's always the appealing
Yeah,
process.
there's always another appeal stage, but it does streamline the process considerably, though.
Well, it's being worked on.
Okay, good. Next thing I'd like to report on, yesterday we had the opportunity to meet with the Los Angeles Sheriff Commander Mike Richard Nagamura, or what? Nagamura?
I don't want to,
And,
I'll mispronounce his
but anyway,
name.
he is one of the,
The commander, yeah.
commanders,
Yeah.
and I was very impressed. The sheriffs are very concerned about what's going on in Hawaiian Gardens, and they're really trying to reach out to the public. And it's even though we don't have our own police, the sheriffs really are like our community-based police, and it's really up to the people to reach out to them. And if there's problems, they're ready to help us out. And I really believe that for the $1.6 million we're spending a year, we're really getting a lot of bang for the buck, so to speak. And maybe we're probably getting better law enforcement than when we had our own police. And the sheriffs are very professional, and I think they're doing an outstanding job, and they're really concerned, and they know that this is a community on the move, and they just want people to participate and trust them as much as possible. And there's no reason why we shouldn't trust them. They're doing an outstanding job, and when they come and meet us on a regular basis, they're really reaching out to us, and I think that's very positive. And the people should know that this is, even though it's the LA sheriffs, these are your police. Take advantage of it, because they're dedicated to our community and they're doing a good job.
Now, I have a report after the last council meeting. I noticed my dome light didn't work in the truck, so I flipped it on. But then when I got home, it didn't go out. Well, I didn't realize it, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was a rap, and I headed for the door, and I said, who is it? LA Sheriff's Department. Your dome light's on. So then I had to get the key and go out.
Want your battery to
Said
go
your
down.
battery would be down in the morning,
Can you imagine if you had to run out in the morning emergency?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nice. That was very nice.
That is.
Yeah.
I have, we can go.
But it was scary in a way because they're so loud.
Come arrest me.
Yeah, really.
Okay. Alan,
And the last thing, last Thursday night, I had the opportunity to go to Artesia High School and participate in their groundbreaking. They're going to improve Artesia High School. They're going to spend about $10 million on there. It's going to be a 3 to 4 year project. And Fetty Middle School, Ferguson Elementary, and Hawaiian Elementary have been designated as magnet schools. So there's a lot of good things going with the ABC School District also. And the parents here and the students should really be appreciative of what a fine school district we belong to. And I think all this stuff with the sheriffs really reaching out to us and the school district really making a move to improve. People are very fortunate to live in Hawaiian Gardens, and this is a community on the go. It's moving up, and we are going to change that image.
Betty, do you have anything to add to that?
Mayor and Council,
Yes.
I'd like to, I don't think we introduced our attorney this evening, Shirley Ramirez. And our, Julie Silva will be here, should be arriving very soon.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to, we just have to adjourn until 8:30?
Correct.
Because the rest is closed session. I don't think that you want to go into closed session, part of it.
I can go into some of it. She did, however, indicate that she would be here at around 8 o'clock or a little shortly
Yeah,
after 8.
it's about 20 minutes to 8 right now, so maybe we
Okay.
should we adjourn
Okay.
for 20 minutes? Go out and have a cup of coffee? and-
Recess.
Recess. Okay, then do we need a motion to recess, or just, we're in recess until 8:30? Yeah.
We couldn't have done closed session.
Being that the city attorney is not here, we're gonna recess it until she arrives, and we'll go into a closed session.
Do we have to make a motion, to make a motion to continue this?
Okay, do we?
No, you're just recessing it.
Recessing it,
for
right,
Maybe
recessing.
a couple minutes until she comes in, or?
Well,
It may be
for
longer.
15, 20
Why
minutes?
don't, if you're gonna continue it, then continue it with a specific time.
Are we
To
sure
have
20
it-
she's
minutes, yeah.
coming?
You- Yeah,
If we
because,
just continue
do you
for
think
half an
we can do your part of the closed session in 20 minutes?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Let's continue for half an hour to continue until 9 o'clock, the special meeting. I can make this.
Okay. Okay, we'll recess the special meeting and go into the closed session part of the regular meeting for the council and agency. Now, what you have to do is, what we're gonna cover, she reads.
Want me to go ahead and read it into the-
Yeah, okay. She's not gonna do all of it, she's gonna do part of it. The closed session.
Okay, but we should probably call the whole thing into,
Closed session.
right,
Closed session, the whole thing in a closed
Yeah.
session.
or do you need to?
But when we
Okay,
come
under-
out, if Julia gets here and we come out, then we're gonna have to go back into closed session later.
Yes,
Is that
it's the council prerogative. You can, what I would suggest at this point, if you're gonna go recess into closed session, recess it and include all of the agenda items so that you're covered completely as far as the Brown Act goes, so there are no Brown Act violations once you're in
Okay.
closed session. For both the city council and the RDA. If you choose to come out of closed session at some point upon Julia's arrival and reconvene, you're protected according to Brown Act laws because everything's been read into the record as to what you will be or not be discussing in closed session. Clear? Okay. So under the city council agenda, they will meet in closed session under existing litigation, government code section 54956.9 to discuss the Moreno versus City of Hawaiian Gardens case BC 154076, case Pena et al. Versus City of Hawaiian Gardens, LASC number BC 195825, Steve Davis et al. Versus Hawaiian Gardens, LASC number BC 132314. Also in the closed session, anticipated litigation, government code section 54956.9, subsection B1 and C, to discuss one or more potential cases. Labor negotiations under government code section 54957.6, to discuss the matter listed on the city council agenda. For the redevelopment agency, existing litigation, under government code section 54956.9 subdivision A, case By Right Meat and Provisions Company, case number BC 154076, By Right Meat and Provisions Company, Inc., BC 023098, Lakewood Suzuki, BC 112982, Moskowitz versus Redevelopment Agency, cross complaint BC 023098, Plowboys Market, Inc., versus the Redevelopment Agency, BC 139771, South Bay Protective and Security Services, Inc., cross complaint VC 023098. Also under Government Code Section 54956.8, property agency owned on Carson and Belshire property with the parties listed on the agenda as well. Oh, one more. Closed session under Government Code Section 54956.9, subdivision B1 and C, one or more potential cases.
Okay, then we'll go into closed session. And you'll let us know when Julia arrives?
Yes.
Shirley, can we have a report on what was covered? Or any, no action was taken?
Yeah, no action was taken. Would you like me to read the items again on which there was no action taken?
Maybe you-
Or,
She's already read them.
okay,
Yeah.
you've already read them?
It's not required, only if there's no action, then you need to report that no action was taken on
Okay.
any of the items.
Okay, but we do have some items that Julia was supposed to cover. We didn't cover the whole thing. We didn't cover the whole thing in closed session. Julia was gonna cover certain ones, she covered certain ones. So, does it make a difference?
Okay.
Well, I think we came back because we thought this had to be done first because we said we're gonna continue, a recess to go on the special meeting.
If that's what you decide to do, right now, if you didn't take any action on whatever it was that you did discuss,
Right.
because it's on
Right.
closed session, does not require you to discuss it, so
Yeah, and that's
you're
it.
okay there.
It's
Yeah,
just
we just
no
didn't
action.
discuss those.
Right.
Right.
So,
Um,
no action taken.
You know, it's
Yeah,
up to
so
you
it's
whether
okay.
you want to,
Just a report, no action taken.
Right.
Okay. Now, what about if Julia would come in and say, we're gonna go back into closed session? She
Okay,
has to
that-
identify the items that
that-
she's gonna cover.
Yes, this is true. Now, you need to decide if you're gonna recess then, if
Recess.
there's no other additional action to be taken on the city council agenda and the agency agenda, if your intent is to recess, pending the
Mayor?
attorney's arrival.
Yes.
Mayor
or
and Council,
adjourning.
I'd like to just maybe recommend that if our city attorney signed it by, within a specific period of time, then maybe, the issues that are concerned, maybe we can address that at the, if she
Special
wishes, at the special meeting,
The 17th, right?
properly advertised
On
and so
this,
forth.
on this resolution.
And the adjourning.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. No, and as
No,
far
on
as
the
this
re-
item, no, I'm talking about the other items that you said, that.
She
Yeah.
was gonna cover.
Yeah.
The closed session items.
Yeah.
Can we recess the regular city council meeting, finish the special meeting, and then go back to the
Yes.
regular
Yes.
meeting? What, could we do that? Recess our meeting, our regular city council meeting,
Okay,
and continue special meeting.
The special
fi-
meeting.
Finish this meeting, and then once this is finished and out of the way, then we can go back, and maybe by that time.
if
the
our city
will be
attorney
here.
is not here by that time, then
Yeah.
we'll either, we can close the meeting?
Yes.
Or like
Okay.
Tony suggested, adjourn it to the November 17th date that the other item was continued
For the
to.
closed session items.
Exactly.
We can continue
Okay.
after we finish this.
Okay. Okay, then I'll,
Right, Dominic?
we'll resume
What do you mean,
the
no?
meeting, right?
I don't think you'd have.
You're
closed session
recessing
item for
the,
a special meeting.
Huh?
We're,
Yeah.
no, it's not a special meeting, it's an
Not a special
adjourned
meeting.
meeting.
and it,
They
Oh,
would be
for the conflict of
continuing
interest,
the
okay,
meeting
all right,
tonight
okay.
to November,
Okay.
but they're not doing that yet.
Lucy, will you please tell us what we're doing here now?
Yeah.
You will be recessing the city council and the redevelopment agency meeting, for about, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You have to give a specific time.
Well, can we put in 15?
5 minutes.
This will take us 5 minutes,
Okay.
probably.
Oh.
For 5 minutes, at which time then you'll reconvene and then call the
Special meeting to order.
special meeting back to order, back into session.
And
And then
finish
deal
that.
with these items.
You get that motion? So moved. Do I-
I'd like to make the motion to recess regular city council meeting,
And agency.
an agency meeting, to continue our special meeting and to come back within 5 minutes after we have adjourned our special meeting.
Special
Okay.
I'll second
emergency
that.
meeting, right?
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carried. Okay, now we're going into
Special.
our special meeting, right?
Correct.
Pertaining to resolution number 87-98.
Yes.
Okay, now Tony, you want to review us on this, or where are we
Well,
at?
basically, it's my understanding that in regards to this resolution, due to the fact that there was already a resolution executed yesterday, I'm not in a position to address if this issue should be addressed or not. It becomes a matter, though, that the purpose of this resolution was to assure that the resolution pertaining to the distribution of the papers for the election was distributed in a timely fashion. I would suggest that that item and the other items, our city clerk has shown me just a few minutes ago that they've already inserted a disclaimer in regards to the packet. I feel that maybe that in itself would address the issue.
Okay, we can take it, we can make a motion and
That we,
go
yeah,
ahead.
that maybe there's no action of any kind that's really being looked at now. Okay, because our city clerk has already distributed, there's a disclaimer and,
Okay.
yeah. So,
so we don't have to take an action?
yes, that's what I'm stating, that, you know, it's my understanding that because a resolution was already adopted yesterday.
Okay, I have just one question. Okay. Well,
You want it to Lucy?
well,
To Dominic.
Okay, good.
okay. So last night you signed that resolution that basically said that the election of the city clerk was subject to the opinion of the Attorney General.
Right.
But there was no date of December 1st, 1998 in that resolution.
No, there wasn't.
So does that, what happens if in January, the Attorney General renders some kind of opinion? And it says,
You have to understand that, and I thought about it, the Attorney General, he only gives an opinion.
Right.
He does not make the law. He does not change the code.
Mhm.
He just gives an opinion.
Mhm.
So no matter when he comes in with it, it still will not be valid. His opinion is not binding.
okay,
But so it's gonna end up eventually, if we just let the election go through like it was supposed to be a 4-year term in my mind and in a lot of people's mind, and let it go through, we wouldn't have any problems. But now that we have this and everybody's aware of it, what's gonna happen is gonna go to court. That's what's gonna happen. Might as well know that right now. But we don't have to do that tonight. We can wait till Joey gets back for the next meeting.
Do you wish,
Why would it go to court?
Because
You would sue?
there's no decision made.
No.
Even if the attorney comes back with the decision and says, yeah, it probably should be a 2-year term, it's only an opinion. It's not a decision. He cannot make the law.
Mayor, Council,
Yes, yes.
what I see is that, and I appreciate our city clerk's statement, and so, based on the statement, I would recommend this evening that maybe this item also be tabled to the 17th in conjunction. And that way,
Okay, this
okay?
doesn't jeopardize the
city
election.
No,
or-
we'll still give the people the papers
Okay,
for,
very good.
with the
That's all.
understanding that it may not be open, that position.
My
Okay.
understanding is that we had to vote on this tonight.
That's what my understanding was too.
But that was because before we didn't know we were gonna have that resolution posted
and
last
it
night. at
posted
10
the
o'clock.
resolution.
The other thing is, I
Yeah.
don't think, we can guarantee that the election will not be jeopardized at this point. I don't think the clerk's office is in a position to state that, or even the council. We hope that it's not jeopardized. I
You
personally
mean the
hope that
whole election?
depends on what ruling, and if it comes in or not, that can change the whole direction that,
Even the council?
yeah, because the election covers everything. It doesn't exclude, unless we have a court order that excludes one position or includes another position. Right now, based on the resolution that was executed, the section that was amended is ambiguous. It doesn't,
If I may, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, okay? Once again, that's a matter of it's a subjective statement, and I feel that we can just
need a
carry
legal
this,
attorney
You know,
yeah.
I, excuse me, but I think for the public record, it must be stated that this, to me, this whole thing was mishandled from the get-go. It is very ambiguous. And I hope we learned our lesson from this and that we never get ourselves in this kind of position again, because this is not handled properly. The only thing that was certain there was an election for 2 city council members, and that process should have gone ahead, full speed ahead. This whole thing with the city clerk, for that to even be brought up without the proper research was to me, it's silly.
If-
And I just
What
want to.
There
what
was
action can we
research
take right
and
now?
everything was
Do we have to
sent
take any
in.
kind of action?
Once again,
How do we get over this?
Once again, I recommend that all these
Table it
items
until
just.
the 17th?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion on that, to table this until the 17th of November, at our special meeting.
Is
Hey,
a
do you have
special
any
meeting
more that you need to say? I mean,
meeting?
That's a special meeting, isn't that the 17th?
Right.
Right.
is there any more that you need to say tonight? Because you are our election expert. And if
If-
there's anything that needs to be said, please say it now.
If I may,
Mhm.
I don't believe that the statements that I just made were subjective. It's ambiguous. It puts the city clerk's office in a very awkward situation, and it does not allow the city clerk's office to function and complete its role in the elections process. The term is ambiguous. It puts the electorate in a very awkward situation to hand out nomination papers that state that you may be running for an office for 2 years, but we don't know. The way that the resolution has been executed does not give a final determination as to dates. It's been talked about, it was talked about before the December 1st deadline, but it was not legally acted upon by the council to include it as an amendment in the resolution. So as far as the clerk's office is concerned, it's ambiguous.
Would it be appropriate to make a motion to rescind the amendment about the city clerk election? And so at least we know for sure that the city council election is safe. Would that be appropriate?
Yes, it would.
Yeah, but our
Would
city
that-
attorney said that we couldn't.
Well, our city attorney's not even here
Well, I
to
know,
give us
but-
an opinion.
Yeah, but
Okay,
Lucy,
and-
aren't you saying different things than you said last time when we voted for that thing?
No?
Are you sure?
Yeah. It was ambiguous then, and the council voted 3-1
Yeah, I know.
to agree with the
City
attorney's recommendation, but it was ambiguous. We've had problems with it, we continue to have problems, and until council gives the city clerk's office specific directions, the election, in my opinion, can be jeopardized.
I
And-
need to,
and it opens
I
up
need
the city
to
for liability.
make a statement, please.
Yes.
The statement that was just made, I presume it represents the city clerk's department. It does not represent the rest of the city hall staff personnel in any way or manner. And I need to make that clear.
Well, just my concern is if there's a ruling, he says, they said there's an opinion by the Attorney General, and maybe there's a ruling in the courts before March 2nd, it could jeopardize the positions of the present council because if a decision is made in 2 years, then there'd be a problem there. Wouldn't it? Isn't that, you said if it's a 2-year term, then city council would be a 2-year term rather than a 4-year term if the ruling is.
City councils in the future, in any city,
In the
could
future.
have a 2-year term if a judge rules that a city clerk's term is 2 years because the electorate voted as such. That would set a precedent, and every city in California could decide to make a city councilman term 2 years or even 6 years.
If the electorate has the authority to change state law.
So they would not have the authority to change, in the general law city, they'd have no authority to change any state law.
Yeah, but isn't that what they've done? Because the people voted for 2 years and the council, not this council, but gave
Well-
him 4.
When,
Because that's the
When-
law.
when-
That's why it was 4 years.
let
Okay,
me
well,
provide
Well, then
a
why
little
did
bit
it
of
slip
history
through
if I
there?
may.
Yes, let Lucy.
Let me
Lucy,
provide
yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit of
yeah.
history as it's been explained to me in the research that we've done. In 1995, when that was voted, the way that it was presented to the voters was done improperly. As we later found out in 97, when this issue was coming up on whether it should have been a 2 or 4-year term. At that time, it was determined that it was done improperly. People had to vote, they were supposed to have voted for just one. 2-year term, yes or no, or 4-year term, yes or no. What ended up happening was people were voting on both on both the 2-year term and the 4-year term, which invalidates that voting altogether.
Well, they
Okay.
should have thrown out the whole
They
thing.
should have. Because of it being done improperly, what happened was that in talking to other professionals in the elections area, and this is in 97 when we were trying to find out what had happened and what was going to happen, we were told by Paul Marshall through Martin Chapman that in cases like that, what happens is considered an advisory measure. It has no full force and effect as law. So the position was actually a 4-year term, in addition to it being a 4-year term in accordance with state code. That's why when the resolution calling the election was prepared in '97, legally adopted by the council, it was for a 4-year term. When the election was completed, the council at the time for that election, appointing at that time, legally having elected Dominic to that position, it was for a 4-year term, and it was certified by the council for a 4-year term. So that's been kind of the history. That's why now, whichever way this goes, we're setting new precedents here.
Lucy, you're saying that resolution number 87-90, there's a cloud on it. There's a cloud on
The
this
amendment
resolution.
is a cloud.
The second part, that amendment 1B, which states, subject to the Attorney General's opinion, in our term, in our understanding, in my function as an assistant city clerk to make sure that the election is implemented, conducted properly, is ambiguous. I know that there was different things talked about. I've seen the video over and over again to try to get some feel, and I think that the council may have intended something different, but the motion did not reflect council's intent if it was something other. If it was supposed to be by a specific deadline that we receive the information back, that it would be included, and then if not, then it would have been withdrawn. If that's what the council intended, that should have been read into the motion, and it was not done so. That's why now, at this point, with the terms, the way it is stated ambiguous, and
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
not sure how to address that differently, because I know that a comment has already been made to that effect. With that being said, it puts us in a situation that, as far as the clerk's office is concerned, based on that executed document, we have to provide nomination papers with a disclosure, which is not enforceable, because somebody from the public has the right to come in, pull nomination papers, and is not legally required to sign those disclosure forms or an agreement form of any kind, and we would still have to issue the nomination papers because it's legally announced that way,
You know-
with no ending date.
Is this legally
Okay.
binding right now, this
Excuse me.
resolution that we
Yeah.
signed?
Mayor, Council,
Yes.
could I, usually when an issue comes up, a subject matter, I call on those individuals that have been involved with the project also. I'd like to ask maybe the recommendation by the city clerk as to what action. Okay, because this is something that, what is it that our city clerk would like as far as a recommendation?
Okay, well, neither one is okay after I signed this resolution because we had it posted by law
Right.
yesterday. Not that I agreed with it altogether. And I didn't agree with the other one either altogether, the second choice, because this one says, for city attorneys, including electing one city clerk for full term 2 years subject to Attorney General's legal opinion. Well, he may never come with an opinion, so it would still be up in the air. And the other one says by December 1st. Well, he may not come with an opinion by December 1st. It would still be up in the air. So the way we should have done it, like Alan mentioned already, we should have let this election go the way it was, not make any amendments. If somebody challenges it, then we can go to court on it. Because either way, if you don't believe that it's a 4-year term, and Julia doesn't believe it's a 4-year term, you're gonna go to court. Okay, so either way, we're gonna go to court. But I think it should go, the election could go as a 4-year term and let somebody challenge it. And you have time to do something about it then. It's not gonna hurt the city council election in any case.
What would be your recommendation then, sir, regarding this whole item?
I would just leave I would leave the resolution the way it was when it first came up in the meeting with the city clerk on there for 4-year term. I wouldn't change it.
And in regards to these other items, to delete those items also?
Which items?
The items that,
The interpretation and
well, no, not the interpretation, but the item of applications and waivers and all that. Leave those, delete those?
Well, if we make the city clerk a 4-year term like it's supposed to be, we don't need that. They won't come and get any applications.
Okay, because at the last meeting, the original resolution was just for an election for 2 city council member positions. There was nothing in there
No, there
about.
was nothing to the city
but
clerk.
city clerk.
Right. That's what I
So-
mean. Leave the
and it was
resolution
that
the way it
whole
was.
amendment thing that has thrown this whole thing into a very ambiguous situation. I think it's a very good word. And like I said the last time, I feel that basically this might have to turn out to be a special election eventually. You know, if a court decides so, then the city will be forced to have a
Well,
special election.
Only for the city clerk, because you.
Only for the city clerk.
But, you know, and I know that I don't think we have the right to, leave it for a 4-year term, but why not, when that issue comes up in the 4-year term, that may have to be interpreted and find out exactly how it has to be handled before the elections of March of, 2001?
2001.
Okay, so then, right now, and maybe it should be left as is, and I agree with Dominic, if it gets challenged, it has to go to court anyways.
Right.
So one way or another, it has to be interpreted by a judge. So if we amend this,
Rescind
rescind
Yeah.
rescind the amendment, leave it as is, and with subject to interpretation of the courts if need to.
Right. Because we want to make sure that the city council election goes
Yeah,
forward.
make,
Right.
because, that's gonna,
Jeopardize it.
jeopardize, if the image as well, the same thing, that not knowing exactly what's going on, and we don't want that to happen with respect to, the reporters. Sometimes they tend to use the pen backwards and twist the things around,
Well, then
So-
we eliminate this section 1, item B.
Great job.
Is that, we eliminate that part of it?
We could,
No,
right?
no.
Section 1, item B.
Now, I have one more question. You said last night, you posted a resolution that included Part B.
Right. That's
Right.
the part.
Okay, so now,
That's the part we have to eliminate.
and we can do
But
that
we have
tonight.
also there have been no nominations to date. No nominations received pulled today for that position.
Okay. But it's something that had to be done legally, right?
Right.
Because
If
in
the
the
notice
event,
of election wasn't posted yesterday,
Okay.
then
That's to
then
cover
the
ourselves.
election would be.
Right.
yeah, so I think it was covered by the responsibility you have as city clerk and the city to make sure that that gets posted, but it can be rescinded,
That section may
amendment.
be rescinded, yes.
Oh, and that's legal to do that. You post something and then you can
Yeah, because the
modify it?
posting was the notice of the election.
And it did say,
For the council member's term was very
So
specific.
compliance with the
city
political
clerk.
perfection, just in compliance, to comply with the law, right?
Yes, as far
Okay.
as I understand, it, yes.
well, so I don't know, I guess I'm not, I'd like to make a motion tonight to go back to the original resolution that was on October 27th, 1998, where basically it stated that there was going to be an election on March 2nd, 1999, but it was only for 2 city council positions, period.
And-
So I'd like to make
Four-year
that-
term.
For a 4-year
For a 4-year
term. So I'd like to make that motion, and hopefully somebody will second that.
I think that's probably what happened, I'll second that, to.
Under
because-
discussion, Mr. Lopez, didn't you say that this can wait for our next,
It's whatever you wish. It's up to this body.
by that time
you
the
know.
attorney will be here, and I'd like to hear her side of it.
Right now, we have a motion without a second, and unless it gets a
Right,
second, it
I
dies.
made a motion.
Oh,
I
you
made
did?
one before
Okay,
that.
you did,
Yeah,
okay.
he had
Okay,
made a
but there was
motion.
no second on it, so I guess that died for lack of a second.
Okay,
I
that-
just tried dialing her too, by the way, and she's not answering on her cell phone.
Okay.
Uh,
And it's 10 o'clock and,
Well, we
Yeah.
need to
So
do
you have
something.
you have a motion,
Alan made a
without
motion.
Right, and somebody had made a motion before that. to
I had
table
made
the
a
item.
motion before that,
Without a second.
without a
so
second, right?
You have,
So I withdraw my motion.
okay.
Okay.
So
that
now you
was-
have a motion and a second to rescind that section and go back to the original
On this,
resolution.
would that be the same resolution, only deleting that?
Deleting, it would
Deleting that
rescind
section.
that section B,
Right, section B, that's,
as presented by the city clerk's office.
okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second, roll call vote, please.
wait a second.
I did.
Placido.
Okay. Councilmember Schultz?
No.
Councilmember Cabrera?
No.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Calco?
Yes.
And Mayor Cicero?
Oh, come on, you guys.
Okay, Mayor.
Again, I'd like to remind her that Mr. Lopez said that we can leave this till the next meeting. It wouldn't affect nothing.
It really won't?
Except the nomination papers
That's
Maybe
my
issued by-
concern.
may be
Will be
issued by
Maybe
them.
issued
And that's
by-
really
by
gonna
them.
cause a
That's the
mess.
Just
problem.
put them off.
I don't know how you
Legally,
can
we
do
can't,
it.
we can't turn anybody away now.
No, something's wrong with this whole program, though. We have to get answers.
I still remember that our city attorney says if we don't put this in there, that we could be sued also, you know?
We can't be sued. We could be forced to call an election for a city clerk. What can they sue about?
Well, I don't know, but we'd be in a
Well-
legal, we'd have a legal problem.
Might
You
have
also
to-
need to keep in mind, she also
Either
mentioned
way, you have a
later,
legal problem. If you
that we
decide to
have
make it a
December-
two-year term, it might be a legal problem.
she also had mentioned that if we didn't get, any response by December 1st, in the conversation we had later, that we would pull it off the ballot.
Anyway.
So,
And even at,
we're either
and-
legal or we're not legal. We can't be somewhere in between.
and also, if you review that tape, it said, she also mentioned November 1st.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And that has gone by, and so this is all in limbo.
And she had also
it
mentioned
shouldn't
that we
be.
were immune from
Okay,
liability.
my vote on the thing is yes. Right?
And
On the deleting this
Section B.
section here.
So that means people can pull papers, but they can't pull for city clerk, right?
Right, that's my understanding.
Okay, well, motion carried. I don't know,
You
it's
know,
an
it just
awkward
seems
position
like
to be
if we
in.
can do all this, why couldn't we go back to just give him a good salary and he could just be an employee rather than have an elected city clerk?
Well, you have to have an election for
Yeah,
that.
that's,
Yeah, I
we
think
can't just
that
do
Well,
that
yeah,
was the
but
ruling.
it seems like we just done something right then and there by pulling it.
Well, because it's leaving it,
Because the
it's
people
leaving,
voted for 2
well, it's leaving
years.
it's leaving it as it was, and pretty much with, you know, he
What
was
do
a
you mean,
voted
as it
position.
was?
Well,
Yeah.
and,
Before this whole thing started up.
Now,
See?
My
So-
question is this position always gonna be a two-year?
No.
A two-year position?
No, he's saying it's 4
4 years.
But we voted 2 years. And then
The
the
people
old
voted 2 years.
council,
It was
way
good.
back when, gave him 4.
but I think when it comes up again in 2001, that's when it should be clarified.
Oh, yeah.
To make sure that there's no misunderstandings, and it does not happen again. And chances are, you know, anybody could sue for just about anything, but, you know, there's gonna be a lot of people who don't really want a position, something as such. But you also have to be careful as to who would be elected for a position that they have no understanding of. I'd hate to hire a typist without, you know, the ability to type. So what I'm saying is, you know, maybe by 2001 it should be an appointed rather than elected, and that can probably be changed.
Well, if you've already
Yeah, but that takes
requested
a
some kind of. an
resolution or
opinion-
referendum. I already looked into it.
Well, if you've already requested, though, a statement or an opinion from the Attorney General, if they, when they come down with their opinion, then they may force you to take some action.
Right,
Either
right,
to run a special election or do
right.
something.
We have, yeah,
And
that's
it's
right.
been done before.
Yeah.
So now, what did we do?
Uh,
Nobody pulls the
as-
papers for city clerk.
Right.
Because of what we
Right.
just done tonight, right?
Yes.
So they just pulled the papers for city council positions that are
That's
coming
all.
up in March. Two positions, and I think we need to do that because, you know, there's a deadline for them to pull papers, and there's probably gonna be a problem with that. So I think that's probably in order to do it, to make sure that things run as it, you know, as it was planned.
Yeah, didn't want to jeopardize the
Right,
election.
the election.
I could have abstained too, I don't know where that would have put us, but,
Well, it'd be,
Nothing would have happened.
nothing
So
would
I'd
have
like
happened.
to make a motion to adjourn this
Should have went
meeting.
with Tony.
This is a special meeting,
Right.
right?
So,
So
yeah, this-
we discussed this and we have
Okay.
resolved everything here?
Okay,
I'd like
you
to
make a motion
to adjourn the
I'll second
special
that.
meeting.
do I have a second?
yes, second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned, and we'll go on to the other meeting of the agency and the city. And I'll also, if there's no other business, I'll adjourn, I'll adjourn to our next regular,
No,
no? Oh, special meeting,
no, just adjourn to November.
to November 19th or 17th.
17th at 6 PM.
Okay, here at the council chambers. Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye?
Aye.
Ayes? Ayes have it, motion carried. We're adjourned.
Oh, there comes the city attorney.
Going out. Yeah. It's after 10 o'clock.
hope that